Hi everyone. Sorry I couldn't be there to present in person. Um, Baby's healthy. I'm healthy, just recuperating. 8 pounds, 6 ounces, 20 inches. He's doing really good. Hey, so I'm gonna present on this slide. It's for the nonprofit agency. The nonprofit agency that we chose was CSET. CSET has recently celebrated 43 years of service. CSET came about during Lyndon Johnson's presidency, and came about with his campaign for the war on poverty in 1964. So there's a few reasons why the group chose CSET and why I personally chose CSET too. One of the reasons is going to be longevity. They've been around for 43 years and they've been very successful. Success is another reason. They've been really successful and they've grown organically and expanded, and just they have their hands in like every aspect of community service and social work and community development that it matters a lot. Also, the way that they've grown, it's a reflection of what we're being taught in class. Kind of the thing like use your resources and people are your greatest resource. So, and I'll talk more about that. So I'll have listed on the slide somewhere all of their achievements. These are recent achievements for the last year. So they've achieved quite a bit. And like I said, they're very successful. You can see that through their achievements, and then also because the way that they did it. So the way that CSET operates, they operate as like this kind of quasi-government entity, but they're not. They're a nonprofit organization, obviously. So they do things like that the government would ideally do, like their recycling. They have their hands in recycling, conservation, stuff like that. Even in helping people get high school degrees, helping them with vocational skills and working skills. And the reason that I say that they reflect like what we have been taught in class about what we're supposed to do in community development by getting to know the community. We're supposed to get to know the community, build relationships, and build trust. And you do that in social work no matter what. And CSET has definitely been a great example of that. Their success is through that. And I know this personally because they're what lit my passion for social work. I personally experienced them coming into my community and getting to know us and building trust. And they do have that relationship, and that relationship was so strong, and we bonded so well that it still exists today. When I first was introduced to CSET, they were coming into Goshen, because like I said, I'm from Goshen. Well, like everybody knows, I'm from Goshen. They came into Goshen and they wanted to do something for youth. Back then, the now head of CSET right now, and her name is Mary Alice Skarska-Fetchner. She's the one who I interviewed. She's now moved her way up. And she says that she hopes that, people that like me or other people that they've helped in the community take their jobs. So it's just kind of evidence that they actually did come into the community. They actually did come and build those relationships. And based on what the community needed, they gave, they put their energies and efforts towards that. And another example would be like the John Muir High School. My brother's actually class of 2006. Not a troublemaker, not anything like that, just more of a not very social person, kind of didn't like to be around people. But he went through their program, learned how to lay concrete, do recycling, do that kind of stuff, and then got his high school diploma also. So those things are definitely something that you see reflected in the community that was needed, and now they're definitely acting on it. And that's part of why they're successful too, is because they went into the community, they seen what the community needed, and then they put their funding, put their efforts, put their energy towards that. And so they get the people coming back in. So people come in. So people still need help with getting their high school diplomas. People still need help getting to work. people still need help with their taxes. That's one of the big things too right now, is that they use like their in-kind resources. So the way that that's done is that all of the people that come in to do the taxes are all volunteers. They volunteer their time and their services, and then that brings money back into the county. So especially around income tax time, people are, scrounging, and, H&R Block charges a lot, and people don't know that people get audited and that kind of a thing. So this program that they have really helps a lot of people out. So then that's part of their success. Another part of their success is collaboration. One of the things that stood out when I interviewed Mary Alice was that their collaboration. They collaborate with everybody in the community. They collaborate with anything that they have their fingers in. And she said one of the things with CSET is that they are not afraid to step aside if someone is better at that. For example, if there's someone who's leading a homeless task force, they'll put their energies, and if they have the funding, they'll put the funding towards that. And if there's a task force, they let them take the lead. They're willing to lead on programs that they're proficient in, and they're willing to step aside for someone who's more proficient in another program. One of the things she said too was that they do not like to duplicate services, because it's going to create competition. Not necessarily competition, that's a bad word to explain it, but it's gonna, because they have to, for certain funding, you have to meet certain quotas and certain bullets to get that funding and keep that funding going. So in order to not risk that funding, they make sure not to duplicate services. So if one program or one nonprofit organization is doing something, they make sure not to do that same thing. So one, they can hit another problem area, and then also so they're not taking funding away from someone else or competing for funding. So that's something that's part of their success too. They're always collaborating. They're always communicating with all the different programs so that they don't duplicate services. And they actually have meetings all the time so that they can see who's doing what and make sure that they're not overlapping on services. So I thought that was really neat. I know that in the past, in social work specifically, there was issues with certain agencies collaborating, like foster care, adopting, with child welfare, those kinds of things. There was a little bit of conflict between them, but it's changed now over time, and that collaboration really makes a difference because everybody's on the same page, and there's more room for success. So the way that they get their funding, like I said, is one's going to be grants. They get federal grants, they get state grants, they get community service grants. They have contracts with lots of different people in the community. They get money donated. They have in-kind resources like the volunteers. And then all of that they do is all investing into the community, and then it just keeps going in this good cycle. They break the bad cycles, and they have created new cycles. So the people that they train jobs for, they then, like for example, one of the programs is going to be going to high school and then working also. So these kids that may, or not necessarily kids that may not have graduated, at the same time as getting their high school diploma, they're working and getting work experience and work training. And then once they graduate from high school, they're able to just work, and then they have a job, and then they get that economy going, that flow going. So it's a really good structure. They're not only providing relief, but they're providing development, and then that equals growth. And that's what you've seen with CSET. They actually cover not only Tulare County, but they reach out into Kings County also, because they do so much with conservation in Kings County, going up to the mountains and the sequoias and stuff like that, and helping do recycling and trash and that kind of thing too. So I think that's all I have to say about that. But CSET is definitely a great example if you wanted to see how to be successful in a nonprofit organization.